because I see that my camera is not working right now.
Yeah, Yonida, we don't see you anymore. Yonida?
Local connection.
Okay, Syria, the participants are coming in the waiting room. Uh, should we wait for Yonida for her camera, or should we let the participant in?
I think we should let the participants in. It's 11.
Okay, perfect.
Good morning, everyone. Dear colleagues, experts, participants, we are very happy to welcome you to the webinar of the GLAD Network. The GLAD Network was created by European Training Foundation in 2022 among practitioners, policymakers, experts, partner countries, EU member states to discuss about the design and implementation of reforms in the field of vocational education and training, lifelong learning, transitions of young people from school to work, employment, and in the design and implementation of the reforms, the governance aspects are always very important. Under the GLAD network, we promote an approach which we call participatory, where different actors, different institutions cooperate together. They discuss, they negotiate, and they come up with solutions between public, private, third sector, which usually demonstrate to be more effective in terms of delivery of the services. We want the policies deliver their results for the benefit of the population. Today, in particular, we focus on Youth Guarantee, which is a very useful and so far successful example of one of these public policies that are better designed and implemented if they are done, if they are governed in a participatory manner. The Youth Guarantee is a scheme launched by the European Union, but it has become important also for neighboring countries, candidate countries, and beyond. Even there are countries in East Asia that are implementing their own youth guarantee. We have important speakers today. We are very grateful to have a representation from Albania, a country that started the youth guarantee about 2 years ago, as well as to representatives from European member states that have long experience. And we will hear their stories. To begin with, I would like to show you a short video starting from Albania, which will help us to introduce the first speaker of today, Unida Lika.
Greetings from Albania. We today had a truthful workshop on the implementation of the Youth Guarantee in Albania, together with EUD, ATF and EU for Youth projects.
The Youth Guarantee was designed after the financial crisis in 2008 and started the implementation across the EU in 2013. And it is very good to see that the Balkan countries adopted the idea and started preparing and implementing the Youth Guarantee as well. The Youth Guarantee is one of the flagship initiatives that the EU has for the Western Balkans. And it is great to see that it is now being implemented and piloted throughout the Western Balkan countries.
We're here today gathered with social.
Thank you. So this was a workshop I held less than 2 years ago in Tirana, in Albania. We had a full room of different stakeholders. And we are very lucky to have the protagonist of that workshop today with us, Unida Lika. Youth Guarantee went well through now into implementation, and we would be very happy to hear from you. How is the Youth Guarantee unfolding? What is the situation now compared to 2 years ago? Unida, you are expert and a coordinator of the Youth Guarantee at the Public Employment Services in Albania, the National Agency for Employment and Skills, and we are very happy to hear from you today.
Dear Syria, good morning. Good morning to everyone. I'm so happy for being here and to present Albania's case on Youth Guarantee. I'd like to thank all the participants, the GLAD participants, also ATF colleagues and all the colleagues in the European PASSes, but not only, who are part of this webinar. Well, it's a great pleasure for me to initiate, let's say, the webinar with the case of Albania. So I would like to share a presentation, and maybe we can go on with the presentation and also with the answer to your question on the Youth Guarantee in Albania alongside. So please let me share a presentation that I have prepared for today's webinar. Do you see my screen, everyone?
Yes, we see the screen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, the Youth Guarantee in Albania now is a reality. So maybe I would like also to provide, let's say, a national overview of the scheme itself and all the institutions that are part of the Youth Guarantee. Me, as part of the National Agency for Employment Skills, I would like to provide an information to the invitees and to the participants what our agency does and what are we responsible for. So we are the National Agency for Employment Skills, and we implement the public employment and also skills policy at national level. We are under the Ministry of Economy and Innovation, and also we operate through employment regional and local structures in the territory. as well as from the 2019, we are also responsible for the vocational and education training in all Albania. In this, let's say, in this respect, we are under one roof, both employment services and also education and vocational training, meaning that we have, let's say, the visibility of the skills who are needed in the territory, and we have also the offer and the services to provide for all unemployed job seekers, but not only, also for youth and other categories. As a cohesion, territorial cohesion, we operate through 12 regional employment offices and 42 local employment offices in the territory. Meanwhile, in the education and vocational training side, we operate through 10 vocational training centers and 31 vocational schools. Coming back to Youth Guarantee in Albania, in fact, we started Youth Guarantee in Albania in 2023, but before that, the Youth Guarantee in Albania was presented from the Economic Investment Plan for Western Balkans, who recommended to the Western Balkans to present and to initiate the deployment of the Youth Guarantee flagship in all the Western Balkans. From that day, we have started the preparation of the Youth Guarantee Implementation Plan, which the first draft of the Youth Guarantee Implementation Plan was drafted in 2022 and was adopted in 2023. From 2023, October 2023, we have started the piloting phase of the Youth Guarantee in 3 main regions, in Tirana, Shkodër, and Vlorë, targeting the north, the center of Albania, and also the south of Albania. Initially, the piloting plan of the Youth Guarantee in Albania targeted 200 needs only, but we went beyond that. Only in the piloting phase of the Youth Guarantee, we have more than 2,000 needs who were part and who are benefiting from the Youth Guarantee, and currently we have additional numbers of youngsters who are part of the Youth Guarantee and have benefited the quality offer. In January 2025, we extended the piloting phase with 1 year, and in June 2025, the EU Parliament ratified the financial agreement on EU for Youth Employment, which is a dedicated multi-annual program for Albania only for the implementation of the Youth Guarantee. From then, we have also just approved now the extension of the Youth Guarantee in Albania throughout all the regions, 12 regions, with a new Youth Guarantee Implementation Plan just adopted for the years 2026 and 2028. The governance model of the Youth Guarantee itself, it is presented in this slide. The Ministry of Education and Economy and Innovation is a supervisory ministry. Meanwhile, the National Agency for Employment and Skills, it is the executive agency, meaning that we are the executive agency for all phases of the Youth Guarantee and the most important counterpart for the implementation of the Youth Guarantee. In the meanwhile, we are managed, let's say, from the National Youth Coordinator, which is currently the Deputy Minister for Employment Matters. And we have established 2 monitoring committees and groups who monitor and also, let's say, implement changes that we propose to the Youth Guarantee Implementation Plan. We have the monitoring committee, who is chaired by the ministry, and also we have the technical institutional group, who is more a technical group where we discuss more technical issues that came up during the implementation of the Youth Guarantee. But not only during the implementation of the Youth Guarantee, we have social partners and local partners who are very important counterparts for the implementation of the scheme itself. Meaning here we have municipalities, NGOs, local partners, CSOs, trade unions, part of very integrated part of the implementation of the scheme itself. As I said, until now, we have now 2 years implementing the Youth Guarantee in Albania, and we have more than 3,400 needs enrolled in the Youth Guarantee. This is the latest data as of yesterday, June 20. 2025. The Youth Guarantee, the scheme itself, it is highly harmonized with the with all the scheme and the recommendations of EU in the scheme of the Youth Guarantee and the flagship of the Youth Guarantee, and it comprises 4 phases, which is the mapping, the outreach phase, the preparation, and the offer. In all phases, we have several instruments, several schemes that have been set up for the first time in Albania in order to facilitate the implementation of the Youth Guarantee. But most importantly, I would like to, let's say, step back and, let's say, discuss a little bit more on the outreach phase. In the outreach phase, we have presented several schemes and several instruments, starting from the early school leaver, the activation of the CSOs in the territory, as well as the presentation of the local partnership network. The local partnership network is for the first time. I'm sorry, do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. We don't see your PowerPoint.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Let me share it again. In the meantime, I'd like to excuse me because we are now in a workshop on youth coaching with an Austrian PES. So I'm now in the hall to present the case with you. Okay, do you see my screen now? It's connected?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. The local partnership network, it is the, let's say, the first network that we have established as far with regard only to identification and activation of the youth. But what is this local partnership network, and why do we need a local, let's say, approach, how to set it, and which are the main features of the model and what we expect from the partnership network? It is something that we are going to pilot this year and see what will function and what will not function, maybe to improve it in the next upcoming year. However, us as an institution who is responsible for employment policies, we have several, let's say, partnerships similar to this local partnership network with several institutions for people in economic aid, etc., people with disabilities too. So we have the setup of the communication with other institutions. So under the general outline of the model, we have the early intervention scheme, which, as I said, is the prevention of the early school leaving, because that is a great and very important component when we talk about the outreach of the needs. We do not need to focus only on the identification of the needs, but also on the prevention of the needs. And we have a very good scheme here on the prevention of early school leaving, where we piloted last year in the vocational schools. In the meantime, we have identification and activation of the needs, and we have a counterpart here who is very important for us, which are the CSOs and the NGOs who are operating in the territory, where this organization go to the youngsters where they are in rural areas, in communities, and in premises where they live and they are. And in the meantime, we
I think we are not hearing anything. It's only my problem, or it's
No, it's everyone. Yes.
I see her image frozen. I don't know if it is only me or for everyone the same.
no, it's for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't see it either.
Okay. It's for everyone. Yes. Let's see. Okay, we are back to the gallery. Jonida appears as a participant, so she's here, but perhaps there is a little bit of slight connection issue from her side. Let's see if she's back, and we'll resume her presentation. Meantime, I found what she said so far quite impressive, I must say. I mean, having been in workshop less than 2 years ago with preparations were actively ongoing, now I hear very interesting and impressive progress. Legislation, so Youth Guarantee has been embedded through legislative changes and update into the legislative setting arrangement of Albania. Regarding the Youth Guarantee implementation itself, there has been a very good design and attribution of different roles and responsibilities. This is very important for Youth Guarantee in any country. And as we heard from Ionida in Albania, there is a clear structure of, say, decision-making at national level, at the same time, coordination at national level through different working, through a dedicated steering group or working group to coordinate the different inputs, because the Youth Guarantee concerns primarily Ministry of Labor, Social Affairs, but other ministries such as Education, Economy, Regional Development are involved. There is also a level of technical coordination with working group or groups that discuss the details of how the Youth Guarantee can be implemented. So we have a coordination at national level, but it's very important, and I think something to note as a strong progress, that in Albania, they have established local partnerships. And I think it's clear from what Ionida said that into these local partnerships, they discuss in great details how to contact disengaged young people, how to outreach, how to bring them closer to the Youth Guarantee, how to motivate registration into the Youth Guarantee scheme. And this requires cooperation, very strong cooperation and collaboration between local employment offices and local NGOs, youth organizations, and they are part now, we have just learned, of these local partnerships. And the local partnerships, plural, they are forming a network. So from the point of view of the establishment of the Youth Guarantee structure, I think, I feel to say that Albania has advanced quite fast in terms of identifying the partnerships and the coordination at national level, at local level, and with involvement of different actors. So while Public Employment Service is the central executive agency, they have learned and they are developing mechanisms to cooperate with NGOs, youth organizations, community organizations that are well placed to know the young people that are not in education, not in employment, and bring them closer to the Youth Guarantee. I want to stop talking because I don't want to replace Ionida. I don't see
Maybe
her
I add something to what you said,
back.
if it's possible.
Yes, Nicole, do you have, are you in contact with Ionida? Do you have, we can also maybe pause on Albania and maybe move on with the second country. I see a hand raised. Hermione, do you have a question or comment?
No, I just wanted to add something to what you actually were discussing. Hi, everyone. My name is Hermione. I represent the Creole Association. We are currently implementing a project that is related to empowerment of youth through basic skills and youth activation, that it's within the Youth Guarantee program. And following what you said, I would like to add that it's very important, the network on local level, seeing that, when you focus on vocational profiling, personalized activation plans, mentoring, and all the youth guarantee services that the program offers. It's a very key strength of the project. The local partnership networks that we create during the implementation of the project. And I would like to mention here, like the municipality of Vlora, because our project is being implemented currently in Vlora municipality and all the administrative units included. But also ACPA, social services, schools, local administrative.
Vorbind despre școli,
and,
am văzut că avem multă experiență aici.
yeah, someone is speaking, but I don't understand the language.
Eu nu știu cine vorbește, dar
I should hear only English from my side. So please, technical support.
So just adding what you were actually saying, that how important is that the intervention must be on national level, but also local level and local networks and partnerships are so important to outreach youth and young people that are not in employment, education, vocational training, or any social improvement opportunities.
Thank you very much, Hermione. Your message is very clear. I agree with you. I think it's very important to underline the local level, because in the end, the youth guarantee happens at local level, and therefore to have a territorial structure and to have convergence of different contributions into a local partnership, it becomes a key success factor. And talking about key success factors, I would like to move now to the representative of Slovenia. I'm very grateful to have here with us Jana Rožac. She is expert at the National Employment Service in Slovenia. Not only she's expert, she's the coordinator of the Youth Guarantee inside the Public Employment Service. So again, we remain into the focus of the implementation, because usually in most of the countries, Public Employment Service are the executive agency to implement the Youth Guarantee. And Slovenia has long experience, so we move from Albania in its pilot stage onto a country that has something to say and to share based on, 15 years of implementation. So Jana, thank you very much for being with us, and the floor is now yours.
Thank you, Syria, both for the invitation and of course also for this kind introduction as always. I will just start sharing my presentation. So just let me know if everything is in order so that I can continue.
Yes, we see you well and we hear you well.
Yes, perfect.
It's very good, yes.
Perfect. Okay, before we move to the presentation of our scheme in Slovenia, I wanted to give you some short information on the data and trends in Slovenia, just to give you a picture of our situation. So the NEET and unemployment rates in Slovenia are both well below the EU average, but also we still have the structural challenges, especially for the long-term unemployed, young people, the welfare recipients, lower educated, also migrants. And since the implementation of Youth Guarantee in 2014, we have to say that the share of NEETs has been lowering, but unfortunately the share of NEETs who are registered at ARPES is also lowering. And the last year it came to a historic low. So we really want not only to focus on those who are actively searching for a job, but to widen this outreach also to those who are NEETs and not registered at ARPES. So if we see this overview of the Youth Guarantee governance in Slovenia, the responsible institution and the Youth Guarantee coordinator is the Ministry of Labor. As the Youth Guarantee has been and still is primarily focusing on employment for young people, appointing the Ministry of Labour as coordinator was very straightforward. Then the Ministry of Labour is the EU contact point, and they have been coordinating the activities under Youth Guarantee on the national level since the beginning. They also report on the activities and implementation, prepare strategic documents related to the Youth Guarantee, lead discussions, social partners at the national level. Then the main implementing institution is the Employment Service of Slovenia, so the institution that I represent today. And we also serve as the single entry point for Youth Guarantee users who enter ALMP measures under the Youth Guarantee. Then we, of course, cooperate with the ministry almost on a daily basis. We exchange the data, we share experience from the field, and also give feedback from the users, difficulties, needs, and so on. But of course, we cannot do everything by ourselves. So to address the transition of various young people, because we know different groups need different support, we need to cooperate with other sectors, so different ministries, but we also cooperate with the representatives of the Youth Guarantee users. And you will see throughout my presentation that this cooperation, I believe, is the key message that I want to convey today. So until recently, we've had 6 different ministries that took part in the implementation of the Youth Guarantee. Each of them has a designated delegate who is the contact person and the person responsible for the exchange of data and the participation in this working group. I forgot to describe the working group. This is a very important part. I apologize. So besides, when we are within this scheme, we also have this non-formal working group for the Youth Guarantee monitoring, which I will present later on, but it has shown to be really crucial, especially in the beginning of the implementation, but later on through every change as well. So moving on with these different ministries. As I was saying, each ministry has the person responsible for the exchange of data and the participation in this working group. So we have the Ministry of Labour that takes care of the active labour market policies, career guidance programs, vulnerable groups and programs. Then we have the Ministry of Economic Development and Technology with programs for entrepreneurship. Then Ministry of Education, supporting youth work, Ministry of Higher Education, supporting this, offering support for students, Ministry of Culture with the scholarship for culture profession, and Ministry of Agriculture with incentives for young farmers. So I started the slide saying until recently. That's because we've been in a transition of reshaping different ministries in the past month. And so this scheme will most likely change within the following weeks, but now it's still valid. So about the non-formal working group, which is so important, but I almost forgot it. The crucial goal is that we have within this non-formal working group, we are monitoring the implementation of Youth Guarantee. But basically, it was set up in order to include the voices of young people into the development and also the implementation of the Youth Guarantee. And this is really, I have to emphasize how important this is, because it's so easy to forget or oversee their needs, even though they're the target group. So throughout the years, it's really proved to be beneficiary to exchange all the perspectives, to share ideas, to suggest recommendations, also some modifications that were needed during 2022, and also updating the goals of the Youth Guarantee. This group, first we met almost once a month, but now we're meeting once or 2 times per year. It remained non-formal because it proved to be a very complex issue to formalize it, but we also didn't see any need to do it. So we are continuing in a non-formal settings. The group consists of representatives of relevant ministries, including one from the PES, from youth organizations. Here, the Youth Council is very important because they have been set up by the government. Then we have the trade unions and the employers' representatives, so chambers of commerce, crafts, and businesses. And I have to say that, well, in the beginning, when youth unemployment was really soaring in Slovenia, youth representatives were really much, much louder than in the last few years. And the representatives of employers have now more and more to say with the lack of labor force that we are facing today in Slovenia. If we move on to the legislative framework, so we don't have a special legal act for the Youth Guarantee, but the Labor Market Regulation Act does give us this base for a strategic orientation of ALMPs in Slovenia, and also defines the roles of different ministries and institutions for developing these plans and the guidelines for active employment policies implementation. And the plan for the active employment policy implementation, which is really a key document in which we base also the Youth Guarantee with specific goals. For this time, it was still 30-30. Then we also have the National Program for Youth, which includes also the topics directly connected to transitioning to the labor market for young people, but also includes some additional activities that are not covered by the active employment policy guidelines, including housing, volunteering, mental health, education, etc. So the Youth Council I mentioned previously is the organization responsible for the design and passing of this program. Somehow we are a bit late on that at the moment, but I am sure it will submerge very, very soon. Okay. I have to say, every time I'm presenting this Youth Guarantee setup, that Youth Guarantee is really way more than just governance and reporting. So if we want to make a visible impact on our society, we really need to develop actions and measures that target all of the phases in the Youth Guarantee. So both the matching, the mapping, outreach, preparation, and offer. So for us, it proved to be very, very important to start with this mapping of needs with the research. I know it's different in different countries, but in Slovenia, for example, we don't have a legal mandate to get in touch with the needs who are not registered at PES. So this makes things a bit harder. So first we did this analysis of the hidden needs to understand who they are, what are their reasons for inactivity, types of support they need, and etc. Then the second phase we really have to focus on is outreach, because if we don't have people who are aware of the possibilities, then we cannot help them, basically. Then in the preparation phase, there's a lot of activities we do in the preparation phase, so we do this phase with people who are already in touch with our PES. We support them in entering employment. This is the phase we really give the most. So especially as needs need more and more individualized and tailored support. So we provide career counseling in all levels of educations, from primary school onwards. At PES, each unemployed person builds on their individual employment plan. We have specialized career counselors for youth. Then also for clients with complex barriers, we have joint case management with centers of social work. And we have also launched youth career centers that are provided by local providers. And in the offer phase, of course, we have the education and trainings opportunities, then the employment incentives with mentorship, which this proved to be really useful. Also traineeships. Here, in case of Slovenia, these are almost like 90% successful in converting to employment, which is really good. And also special programs for vulnerable groups, like project learning for young adults, ALMA initiatives, social activation programs, etc. So as I was saying, cooperation is really a key to success, especially, at least that was the case in Slovenia. So not only at the national level that I have presented earlier with the ministries and non-formal group, but also at the very operational and local level, because if these don't work, then, well, nothing works actually. So here, Public Employment Service plays a crucial role. So on the one hand, at this operational level, we are leading the cooperation of institutions in joint case management of clients with complex needs that I have mentioned earlier. Here, we really have to work hand in hand with the Centers for Social Work, but also, if need be, with health organizations, schools, NGOs, and similar. Also, program providers, which is very beneficial. And then, on the other hand, we also encourage the cooperation at the local level. And here we have these local partners councils that we have established 2 years ago. These councils are managed by our local offices, so we regional offices. We have 12 regional offices across Slovenia, and each regional office is obliged to lead a partners council. Well, to be honest, usually this was just a way of formalizing a very good local cooperation, but it still took this cooperation on a new level, and it really improved it with this formalization. So each council consists of up to 7 partners. So these are usually representatives of employers, trade unions, education providers, also adult education, NGOs. And the aim is especially to decrease skills match and focus on labor shortages at the local level, as well as encourage information exchange, suggestions for ALMP measures from the local partners. This is very, very beneficial. And the youth guarantee is one of the topics that is often discussed, especially based on the suggestions now from the employer's side, which is clearly showing that we really need to join forces to support this transition of young people into the labor market and to give them this opportunity to give value to the community. So with this is it from my side, and I'm really happy if you have any questions to answer them now or even later on.
Thank you very much, Jana. You shared a lot of very useful and interesting information. I want to see if there are very urgent questions. Otherwise, we keep the questions for the second part of the webinar, where we have a more interaction. But just want to mention a couple of points that really struck me. One is about the legislation. After you said there is no dedicated piece of act or legislation, because after a few years, the youth guarantee becomes embedded into the employment guidelines, employment policies, not a
Sorry, excuse me, Syria, we don't hear you very well. If you could move closer to your mic, maybe.
Okay, what about now?
Like that
Will
is
you hear me?
perfect, yes.
Okay. So youth guarantee embedded into the national legislation on employment is not implemented in silos. It's part of a wider policy goal and approach. The other very interesting thing is this non-formal council. Non-formal, as we heard from Jan, it doesn't mean that it's less important or has limited role. On the contrary, it's very important. It is non-formal because it is based on voluntary contribution. It doesn't have so strict procedures, but at the same time, it's part of the organigram of the youth guarantee. So it is non-formal, but at the same time, it is institutionalized. And there is no contradiction between the two things. Last, we heard about the local partnership councils. Slovenia is even stronger on that compared to Albania. They have institutionalized, they have formalized a format and say a template or blueprint for these local councils that now exist in each and every region. I see Jonida back. With that, I don't see urgent questions, so I would like to thank Jana and move to the third experience. And again, we are very, very happy to have with us Adi Pabort. She's an expert advisor and in charge of Youth Guarantee at the Ministry of Economy and Communication in Estonia. So now we move from executive agency, public employment service, onto more national policy making level. Heidi, thank you for being with us. We are happy to hear about the progress of Youth Guarantee and what are the specific features of governance of Youth Guarantee in Estonia. Meantime, thank you, Leah, for posting the case study in the chat, the case study on Slovenia. We will also see the next one upcoming. But now I hand over to Heidi, and please, you have the floor, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you, and thank you for this invitation as well. So I'm trying to share my presentation, and just let me know, do you see it or no? So
yes, we see it, and now it is in presentation mode. Yeah, excellent. Thank you very much.
So thank you again for this invitation. As Siri already said, that at the moment I am working or representative of Estonian Economic Affairs and Communication, where I am a youth employment advisor and also youth guarantee coordinator. But my background is more in the youth field, so have been from youth worker till program manager who created intervention under the youth guarantee. And also some months ago, I was successful to defend my dissertation. So my research topics were youth guarantee and young people in need situations. And I understood that you will get also the link of this work if you want to know more about it. As I said, that everything is about the topics we are talking about. But yes, in Estonia, when we started our youth guarantee in the first period, we understood that if there is a lack of share problem understanding, so we don't understand with whom we are working or with whom or for whom, and one field specific coordination may reduce the effectiveness of the outreach and the support. So we decided to change how we are working or how we are thinking about the young person. But why we decided to do that and how we do it. So in Estonia, I think we have quite a system. We have a lot of statistics about the young people who are more vulnerable. So if you have more interest about it, you can get later the link and look about it. But there is more than 30 different kind of ways to see the background of the youngsters and also in the local level. And that's why we see that at the moment we have around 20,000 youngsters who are in the need situations, and the share of need youth depend on the country and a lot of also the nationality. So we have quite good understanding, and also we have a very good understanding who they are because we have a system about it. Every local municipality will get a list of the young people who may need support. So we have a statistic, and also we have a quite good understanding about the background. And some years ago, we decided to do also the research about it. We wanted to see that where are the risks, who are the youngsters who may be in a need situation, and what we need to do for that. And you can see here that it's really different ones. So what is the background of the young people? So, and also what we noticed that we can't do that alone. So we need cross-sectoral ways. In the first period, it was more like between Ministry of Social Affairs and Ministry of Education. But now we understood that because of that, we need more cross-sectorial ways. And we made a study, as I said, and again, now, some years later, we repeat it because we see that young people's challenges and the issues are changing very fast. Also, so that's why we need this cross-sector ways, and you can see here different kind of areas with whom we need to work. And also, as I said, that I finished my doctoral studies, and what else we know because of that. as you saw this slide as well, that this group is not homogeneous. So, and they are mainly in transition from, I don't know, child to adulthood, or from education to labor market, or sometimes labor market to the education, or I don't know, education to the parents. So it's very different transitions, and it's not linear anymore. It's not anymore that I finished education and then I would go back to the labor market, and then I start with the family and something like this. There are many different ways, let's say parallel paths. And what we also know, and I think you know as well, that youngsters needs constantly shifting. So it's not anymore. Even 5 years ago, it was different than today. Also, what we know that we need more sectors and levels because of that. It's not anymore like a state level. I think most of the countries, when we started Youth Guarantee, thought more about like a state level, but not so much the local level, and also different implementations. It's not just the ministries or the institutions under the ministry. It's also NGOs and the community programs and so on and so on. So we need more sectors, and that's why we need structural changes for that. And we need integrate of fields. But I think even what is the most important, if I compare with the first and the second period, is that we understood that if we don't see young people as experts of their own lives, we lose a lot of good information. So that's why we need to give more role to the youngsters, and we need better understanding of young people, because as I said, they're experts of their own lives. And also what I already said, that we need to see and know more local community context, because young people, they live in the local level. And also because of that, that, as I said, they are not homogeneous group. We need integrated support ecosystems and in the local level. So then, let's say, we are more successful, at least what we have seen in Estonia. So we really need comprehensive policy or comprehensive approach if we are thinking about young people in need situations. So what we discovered during the first and also in the second period, and also in my studies, that it's not longer just a matter of the employment and education. So with lack of shared understanding, we are planning all the interventions within the single sector, and we are not so successful because we are not able to reach more vulnerable, let's say. It's easy to support, let's say, easy ones who comes and ask help, but we saw that we have a more in the other side, let's say, more with vulnerable youngsters. And that's why we understood that we need more interactions between policies, sectors and the levels, and also ecosystem and cross-sector approach. So ecosystem never ready, it's always developing. So somehow the message, what I would like to say here is also that when the person enters one system, they enter all of them. So we need to see the cooperation, the collaboration or interactions between the areas and the institutions and the programs and the laws. And also, as I said, the group is not homogeneous. So that the key role is the youngsters themselves, that we during the interventions, when we are supporting them, we need bottom-up approach. Because we need to understand, or we need more better consideration of actor needs. And also, I think even if you're thinking about Estonia, we have just 1.3 million, but it's still a small country and different areas working differently. So even if you are creating a kind of standardized solutions or the policies, it's never working because the interactions of the regional policies are different ones. And that's again why we need to involve very much young people when we are creating the policies, and also when we already provide our youngsters who are in these interventions. So what else we decided to do is to think a bit differently, even if the the term need is very common, so we're using it a lot in the policy, but we see it's more like a status. So it's in the moment young person is in the need situation. But what we really need to shift, and I think this is my second message, is that we need to shift from category-based approach to the one based on needs, readiness, and development potential. And what it means is that we need to understand this target group broader than just economic indicator. And it's not just that we start to use the new term. We also need to reframing all the work, what we are doing. And as the need is always been a bit labeling and stigmatizing, we felt when we worked with the youngsters, we thought that we also need understanding that reduce the accusatory tone. And we need, as I said, focus more to the potential and the recovery. That's why we decided that we need to put more focus who they are and not who they are not. So we started, and this is also the one suggestion from my dissertation, that we need to see young person in education and employment transition. So it's traditional journey, it's temporary, it's situational, and it's developmental. So then if you think that way, you start to create the policies and interventions more who they are and not they are not. So it's not just a goal to get them back very rapidly to their employment and education. We want to put more focus to their well-being, let's say. So that's why we changed a lot the second period, and also at the moment, we have 8 different ministries. Also, Jana said that it's very important that you have different fields and everyone has their own role. And because of that, in our steering group, there are almost 50 different institutions. And I need to say it's that only 10 to 12 are official ones, and all the other ones are non-official, but everybody wants to be part of it, because now we really know that who knows who need help, who notices, who outreach, who manage the process, who supports, who monitoring. So we really share the responsibilities. Even if all the actions are not under the youth guarantee, everyone has the responsibilities, and that's why everybody wants to be part of it and think about it. And it's really stayed to the local level. And I think, again, it's very important that also the young persons or umbrella organization of young people are part of it officially. So they are equal partners. Again, I think it's really important. So that's why it was possible for us to really create kind of youth-centered and holistic case management, because we changed the understandings, how we are working, who are the target group we are working, and what they really need. So who they are instead of who they are not. So the first thing was the ecosystem. If you know who they are and what may be the need of them, we also understand that we need cross-sectorial ecosystem. Then we decided who are the main, let's say, the person or specialist who work with youth, where is kind of first door. And I'm really happy to say that we just visited Slovenia and Jana's country, and we saw how good work is done youth counselors, and now we also started in Estonia some weeks ago, very similar approach, and I think we are also that because of that we are more successful, because we change also the way how we're working in the best. But mainly it's a mobile youth worker or mobile youth worker, or the youth welfare specialist, or the education support specialist, but of course other specialists as well, but they are mainly the first door for our youngsters. Also very important because of that, we thought that how we are working, where we are working, it's a local level. Young person we see as an expert in their own life, and also youth-oriented. There are a lot of co-protection, co-creation, and also, we use good data systems to really notice very early already if there is a need of any any support. So it was again very important. And also, what are the different services we need to provide to support them? And that the main results, of course, I mean, the long term is the participation of in education or the employment. But the first thing, we really can put more focus to the exit from disadvantaged situation, because then we can be more sure or certain that young people stay and there is influence. It's not the participation, it's the impact what we really try to create through this system. And of course, again, if there is a change, so the youngsters need something else, there is always open door, and we know what are the parts who will do it. And that's why, because of the youth-centered holistic case management approach, I suggest that think about the ecosystem, think about the sectors, and of course the regulations, because you need to work in the local level together. Think about the competencies. Sometimes we need to know more about other areas, because then it's easier to work. And also you need common principles, and you need different services. And the youth guarantee is part of it. So that's why maybe my third or the fourth message is that youth guarantee is not just the action plans, it's the ecosystem. And you need to think that the youth guarantee is something where you need to solve some barriers so the youngsters get support and get back to their employment or education. But this is the long-term goal. First, put more focus to the readiness and the well-being, and then I think there is more likelihood that the youngsters accept our support and also finish it and will be there where she or he wants to be in one moment. And there's also one link that we supported through this system, also our local municipalities for 6 years. So that's how we are creating new model where youngsters are in the center, and it's really holistic case management. Thank you. So this was my messages.
Thank you, Heidi. I'm impressed, and I realized that each of the presentation today would deserve 2 or 3 hours, each of them. But we are under time pressure. I think every participant and every country is very welcome to contact ETF or to contact Albania, Estonia, Slovenia directly. Now we have a conversation among the 3 speakers and question and answer, but I want to underline just one point from what Heidi told us in her very dense presentation. I think she made it clear that it became so important to understand what the real needs of young people are. What are the barriers they face? There are multiple problems they have to face. So to avoid looking at just one single angle, they are not in education or they're not in employment, and try to have this holistic view. And I think this is very important. It's an opportunity that the Youth Guarantee offers. I think what Estonia demonstrates is that a country is capable to change its approach to policy design, to understanding the policy. And you have seen how complex things have become. Many ministries, many agencies, many entry points, but the young person does not see all this complexity. The young person shall find it easy to enter via the education, via the employment, via the judiciary, via the social services. They don't see all these different services coordinating one another. They should find it easy. So it's the task of the government to manage all this coordination and holistic approach, but for the young people shall be smooth, to seek support. No matter where they go, it's always the right place. They are never told, no, please go to another office, please go to another place or another person. They are always helped, whatever the entry point they choose. I hope I'm getting this right. I now hand over to my colleague Denise Logran. She's also expert in ETF. And Denise, you have the task to
guide a conversation and then question and answer. We are lagging a little bit behind our schedule, but so you have a complex task, but you manage well. Denise, over to you.
Thank you, Syria, and thank you to all the speakers. I mean, they were fascinating presentations. The aim of this short session, the chat, is to bring together these diverse experiences that we've heard about, and maybe pull out the let's say the most crucial points also for our participants today, and many of whom I'm sure are in countries where at different stages of thinking about or implementing the Youth Guarantee. I'd like to return first to Jonida. I mean, it was an excellent presentation, Jonida. Okay, sometimes technology gets in the way, but I think from what we heard, we were really impressed. But just to go back to the journey of Albania in these past few years, what stands out for you as the most kind of critical learning points that you would like to share with other countries, let's say at this stage, this early stage, thinking about piloting?
Thank you, Denise, and I'm so sorry for the technology failing me during my hot point on the local partnership network, which is a very, very interesting instrument that we have established. But I can share, and I'm sure that we will share the presentation with the participants, and they also can have a look on the presentation. But unfortunately, I did not deliver until the end. When we are speaking about the let's say the lessons learned during this time of the piloting of the Youth Guarantee, I need to highlight let's say the most important thing. We for sure need to know the needs. We need to know them, not only in which category they pertain, because we are not talking about a homogeneous category. They have different needs and different realities and different backgrounds. So we need to know them very well. That is the first key, let's say, element that from our perspective, it is needed for the implementation of the Youth Guarantee, especially in those states or in those countries who are just introducing the Youth Guarantee. And the second lessons learned of Albania is that all services and programs need to be in place. We are speaking and we are discussing here for a very hard to manage target group. The youngsters, they have high expectations and they have dreams and have ambitions for their lives and expectation from the institutions. So we need to have a very good portfolio of services to provide them, to offer them what they need, to support them, and a very good quality offers for them to be integrated to, if we are speaking to the labor market and also to the education and training. So that was our, let's say, key lessons learned and messages that I want to deliver. But not only, it has to be a very good ecosystem that needs to be built up. The Youth Guarantee is not just service itself from the preparation to the offer. So it needs to be a very quality and very willing ecosystem being established to that. And I would also like to highlight the digitalization and the interoperability, the communication, data sharing with other institutions is very important, not only for the monitoring, but how to identify them, how to deliver the services to them, and how to monitor them to see whether the services we are providing and the programs we are providing are sustainable in the future for the needs. So we are doing the good job and they are being, let's say, relying on the offers that we provided to them or not. So also the digitalization has an integrated part in the implementation of the Youth Guarantee.
Okay, thank you very much, Jonida. Very insightful learning experiences you're sharing with us. Also, the points you raised, the ecosystem resonates very strongly with what Heidi and Jana mentioned earlier. I have a question in the sense that, Jana, you mentioned that 6 ministries in one of your slides. So it's 6 ministries involved, and 7 partnership bodies, let's say, representatives. So, I mean, how do you manage the communication between all those bodies and institutions? I mean, surely that is, I mean, I would imagine that's a critical feature of building this ecosystem. So how would you say you go about that?
Well, the organization that is in charge of the communication and handling all these ministries at the national level is the Ministry of Labor. But as we do work tightly, I would hardly say that the communication is key. I believe that communication is not as problematic if you have individuals who are appointed and know this field of youth work. In the beginning, when the Youth Guarantee was launched, we really saw that the communication was lacking up till then. So when all the different ministries sat behind one table and said, okay, what can we do with this Youth Guarantee? They really realized very quickly that different ministries are offering similar programs or similar solutions or solutions that are addressing a similar topic. But with the setup of the Youth Guarantee and this non-formal working group, it was really easy to decide which ministry takes which part, which topics they will cover. And so during this, well, the more and more that the representatives of different institutions were part of the non-formal group, then things really resolved somehow on their own. What is interesting, however, is if there are organizations whose representatives are not as keen on working on the topic, or this is just one of the little topics that they have, then it gets a bit tricky. So for example, with some ministries, we don't really work together in the joint development, but we merely, coordinate activities. So maybe this is at the national level. At the local level, it can be, so it depends. So the local councils in some regions really have been just a formalization of a really good work that the organizations have been doing already. But establishing a new partnership took a lot of time, a lot of effort from our side. We realized that, of course, it's not enough just to sign an agreement or just to have an occasional visit. But for us, it showed that we have this regular meetings of the councils. And these are really nice events organized in a way to, on one hand, really motivate them to think and consider different issues. Then they really have to be included. They have to see that what they bring to the table makes a difference somehow or is considered. So we really have to take all this into consideration when launching these events for the councils. Because if you ask stakeholders for some sort of a feedback, but you don't make any changes based on their feedback, then of course they will stop giving you the feedback. So yeah, I hope it was a reasonable answer.
No, I think it actually was a very good answer. I mean, from what you said, I gather that maybe the communication which needed more effort in the early stages, but then you tapped into everybody's desire and need within this ecosystem. So,
exactly. And also, if we have our roles really clear, then the communication is, but at the beginning, there was a lot of communication needed.
Yes, but then it took on a life of its own, obviously. Okay, thank you very much, Jana. Perhaps another question for Heidi, if you're with us. Yes, Heidi.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you very much, Heidi. I noticed that like the local level has come up. This idea of the local level has come up very strongly in all the presentations. It also, I mean, I also noticed that the 3 country examples that we have today are all kind of relatively smaller countries. And just bear with me in this question, and do you think then if we like look at bigger countries, the youth guarantee, I mean, this idea of the local level, I mean, it's the same principle that then can be applied in bigger countries. It's like the experience that you're presenting to us today is like a microcosm of the youth guarantee experience that then can be applied in bigger countries, bigger contexts.
Yeah, I think it's not the matter of how big is the country. I mean, maybe it's easier or faster to change something because you're smaller and you know each other better. But I mean, generally, if you have the same issue or the needs, I think you can follow the same. So because young people are in the local level, it doesn't matter how big is the country. So I see it's the main keyword, and as I said, that also the role of the people is very important, and us young people live in the local level, so we can't change it. So if I'm thinking about your question, of course, it's possible in every country, but I think it depends more how we create the policies. It's not even the question of how big is country, so how we are used to do. In Estonia, we are very much. I think most of countries think that we are very innovative ones, not just how we are creating the policies, but also IT, how we use IT tools. So again, we are creating tools so the local levels get most important information about the young people. Again, it doesn't matter how big it is, because we also have a big towns and small places. So what we really see that if you really want to support youngsters, we need to see that they're equal. It doesn't matter where they live or how big is the place where they live. All the services and what we are providing or the possibilities needs to be the same. So it's equity, not just equal possibilities. So of course, from my heart, I say, yes, it is possible. But of course, there are some things what you need to solve more maybe than in Estonia, because we're already used to this down to up approaches, and then that's why we know a lot what the local needs are, and that it's easier for us to create this kind of policies, so that later the biggest question is always in the local level is how integrated are laws and the regulations, because as I said, it's very often when we start, and I think if here are the countries who started, then think about it. So the first message what I had, that if you are thinking just one of the issue of the youngsters, you're creating this in the single sector, and then it's really hard to do it later on the local level because the regulations are not fixed, so they don't fit, let's say, and then the specialist has a different dilemmas how to solve it, because you have different conditions to support young people. So I think the question is not how big is the country. Of course, there are pluses and minuses, but the more question is how we see youngsters and how we create policies so that in a local level we really can cooperate together.
Okay, thank you very much, Heidi, for your response, and thank you to all the panelists, presenters today. I now will hand you back to Syria for the next concluding stage of the webinar. Syria.
We have actually time for Q&A, and
yes, sorry,
yes.
to Leah.
Yes. So I see there is at least one question in the chat. Yeah.
Yes, it's about Albania, and concretely, no, in practical terms, how the identification of needs, no, it is done. So maybe Jonida, you can explain us a little bit more, and then we go to other questions from Julia. Thank you.
Okay, as I see, it refers to the identification, okay, and the registration and the needs. I'm going to present a list of, at least, let's say, several initiatives that we have been introducing during this piloting phase, and also what's upcoming to the identification of the needs. In fact, as I said, the identification of the needs where they are is key to the implementation of the Youth Guarantee, because we need to know where they are. But during this piloting phase, since we didn't have a fully or complementary report on the situation of the needs in Albania in regions and in locality, we did another approach. We collaborated with several institutions. For example, we have collaborated with social services for the identification of the needs who are in their databases, or they are receiving the services from social services. We have collaborated with educational institutions, especially with vocational institutions, with the reference of the needs who are just graduating or those who has been, let's say, leaving the school earlier, so early school leavers. We have also collaborated with CSOs. As I already presented, there are several CSOs who are outreaching, who are delivering or implementing the outreach phase now in 3 regions in Albania. And they are not only identifying the needs, but they are activating them for them then to register in the Youth Guarantee. Also, the digitalization and the promotion through the channels where the needs are. So through social media, it has been, let's say, giving a huge impact on the needs. Now, there is a discussion on the usage of platforms and social media, because they are reaching out only the needs who have access to these means. And this, in this regard, we are now collaborating with the municipalities at local level for identifying the needs in their, let's say, localities, for them to be informed about the Youth Guarantee and for them to be registered in the Youth Guarantee. So we are trying out to use as much means as we can for the identification of the needs in the territory and for the engagement. However, much work needs to be done, and the local partnership network is one of the instruments who is going to feed our registers with needs in the Youth Guarantee, and it's going to be, let's say, establish a more structured institution collaboration for the identification of the needs and their activation in the labor market, but not only. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Yulia, please.
Oh, hello, everyone. Yulia Kokoyachuk from the Ministry of Youth and Sports of Ukraine. And like recently, our ministry became officially by a government degree as a coordinator of Youth Guarantee to Ukraine. And that's why I have a lot of questions always. And we had the pleasure to hear Heidi and Jana recently in Lisbon. And so probably my question will be more for Jonita, because I didn't know about Albania so far. So probably maybe you can describe like comparing for existing services and maybe extra activities you had to make to fill the gaps in the system, in all ecosystem, to support young people. And also maybe what percentage, how big was that extra efforts besides the existing in your country, and how could you manage it with resources? I'm not sure did you have enough access to European Union resources at the stage of implementation? So too many questions, so maybe you can pick everything you like from this list. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Yulia. In fact, we are expecting a delegation from Ukraine in Albania. So maybe we can also meet in person. I don't know if you are going to let's say, be part of this delegation. Now, about the Youth Guarantee and the preparation that let's say, the country needs to have for its implementation, it's a very important topic. When I presented the key lessons learned, in fact, one of them is exactly this, the preparation, institutional preparation for the delivery of the youth guarantee. Now the services have to be there and the programs have to be there. We have undergone a very detailed analysis of our services, of our resources and our programs in order for them to comply all the requirements that are being, let's say, established from EMCO and from the EU, from the European Union. After we did that, we said, okay, we are prepared to deliver, and within the youth guarantee, we can deliver this service, this program, and that program that are fully compliant with the youth guarantee. In addition to that, we have revised all the programs, active labor market programs. Can you hear me? Okay, we have revised all the labor market programs to be compliant with the criteria of the needs. Many programs, in fact, didn't target the youngsters. So all the active market programs now can target the youngsters and can target also the need, the target need, let's say from 15 up to 29, and also additional criteria. We have introduced additional bonuses for the young mothers, for examples, and for students. And we have also prepared now a portfolio of additional services who are, let's say, will support additionally the youngsters, especially during the preparation phase, because the preparation phase in our consideration, let's say in our experience, it's a very crucial phase for the successful implementation of the youth guarantee. Without very good quality services, you cannot, let's say, ensure sustainability of the needs in the labor market. So in that direction, we have drafted several new let's say programs, but they are not programs. They are more related to the services rather than to active labor market measures that we are expecting to be approved, such as job shadowing, such as programs for youngsters who has no literacy or numeracy skills. That is, we have a huge pool of youngsters with these skills that are lacking, and other programs in that direction. So during these 2 years, because it's just 2 years, we have revised all the programs, and we have also, let's say, refined our services to be more oriented to youth. When regarding to the resources, in fact, you will need resources for the delivery of the youth guarantee. But what can I say at the very early stage of the implementation of the youth guarantee, as you are now, is the capacity building of the staff. It's a very crucial point in order for you to absorb the concepts of the youth guarantee and to be clear that what needs to be done under the youth guarantee, because youth guarantee or the services that you are going to use under youth guarantee may be the same that you are using for other unemployed job seekers, but how do you use it and how to monitor them, that is already set up, let's say, criteria or framework from the European Commission. So the staff, especially the youth councils or the employment councils, need to be trained, and their capacity need to be raised in order for them to be compliant with the requirement of the youth guarantee. These are, let's say, my our lessons learned that I might share with you. Now, I don't know if I covered all your questions, but feel free to repeat any of them. About the financing, okay, I recall the financing instrument. As far we have been dealing with the youth guarantee in Albania with the national budget. Since we have just 2 years of implementation of the youth guarantee, and we have been more focused on preparation and on the offer, we have covered with state budget. However, we are expecting a dedicated, let's say, portfolio from the European Commission, who has been, let's say, mandated to government of Albania under a multi-annual program, which is EU for Youth Employment. It's 63 million euros, who we are expecting for the implementation of the whole Youth Guarantee implementation plan. So referring to all phases, to the mapping, to the outreach, to the preparation and offer. And in that, we are going to support also additional complementary, let's say, policies and initiatives to enable that we have an already, let's say, functioning ecosystem, functioning institutions, and functioning policies that we can support the needs.
Thank you a lot, and can wait to visit your country and see how it works. Thank you.
Thank you. You'll be welcome. So hopefully we'll see in person.
Thank you very much. And now over to you, Syria. We have just 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you. We have 2 minutes left, and I think the promise was that it would be very interesting to hear the experience of a country that started the Youth Guarantee recently, and I think you need to fulfill the promise that, of course, there is plenty of advice to share, and it's also impressive. Let me repeat what Albania has done in such a short time. I only want just to repeat what she said in her conclusion, that, you know, to start with the capacity of the staff is very important, and it comes before the budget. Budget, of course, is essential, but without the preparedness of the staff to implement, to understand what the Youth Guarantee is and what is there for, you don't go very far. I think this is a very, very important message. The ETF is continuing its support to Youth Guarantee, not only to Albania, but other countries. I see among participants in just alphabetical order, I know Armenia, Moldova, Ukraine, they're moving to the Youth Guarantee. So do not hesitate to ask for sharing information. To facilitate information sharing, ETF is also worked on a policy brief. Denise, you want to say a couple of words about that in 1 minute, not more?
Yes, well, within the next month or so, we will have a policy brief published on our website. So it captures almost all the points that were covered today, especially the last few points about not just about participatory governance, but also the financing, the monitoring, and staff, also capacity building. So stay tuned to ETF's social media platforms, and it'll soon be available.
Thank you very much, Denise. So there will be a policy brief upcoming in less than a month. We're glad that we remain together. There will be a new GLAD webinar, this time on adult learning. The date is 2nd of July. We are working on it. We don't, not because we move from, you know, young people to adult people with, you know, without connection. In reality, both young people and adult people, they need non-formal learning. So we are, you know, sharing information and practice about the importance of giving consideration to non-formal learning. Non-formal learning is more and more recognized. It is as important as formal education, because what really matters is to continuously update our own skills, acquire new skills, reskill if needed, and learning is really lifelong, and this is what we want to reiterate all the time. Thank you very much. Thank you to the speakers, to the organizers, to the interpreters, and of course to our fantastic participants. Now we will show the full video of Tirana. So if you want to stay for 3-4 more minutes, you can enjoy the full video about the Youth Guarantee a couple of years ago when we started in Albania. Thank you all, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye.
Greetings from Albania. We today had a truthful workshop on the implementation of the Youth Guarantee in Albania, together with EUD, ATF and EU for Youth projects.
The Youth Guarantee was designed after the financial crisis in 2008 and started the implementation across the EU in 2013. And it is very good to see that the Balkan countries adopted the idea and started preparing and implemented the Youth Guarantee as well. The Youth Guarantee is one of the flagship initiatives that the EU has for the Western Balkans. And it is great to see that it is now being implemented and piloted throughout the Western Balkan countries.
We're here today gathered with social partners and CSOs and local institutions in Albania to try to learn from the experience of Slovenia and Estonia in implementing the Youth Guarantee.
And I'm National Youth Coordinator in Slovenia. And the message I want to give you is that Youth Guarantee is about needs, it's about young people, and this is a very broad and heterogeneous group. So bring to the table as many partners as you can to help you prepare and coordinate and implement the programs. Youth organizations are a very important partner in the process who can help you in all the phases, especially the outreach phase.
One of the most important aspects of the preparation, development and implementation of Youth Guarantee is the interinstitutional cooperation and cooperation with civil society, because that brings easier access to the young people, brings cooperation with businesses to place young people that need a job, that need internship, and it also helps the National Employment Service Agency to have better outreach to young people and to better target the young people and their needs.
So today the main topic was governance in the Youth Guarantee, but one element within governance came out for me as a very strong, important factor. Ownership of all the partners and they're accepting the responsibility to achieving exactly the objectives that were agreed in the group in the co-creating and cooperative process that took place for the planning of different action, different services.
With the Youth Guarantee, we see a lot of new practices, new interaction between central government, local authorities, and on local level between the authorities and a range of different stakeholders, the local employment services, the civil society, the social partners. They create very often these hybrid or mixed forms of governance. This is very important because we see new practices that become regular, they become acquired, and they change the way a public policy is managed. So the Youth Guarantee can be really innovative.
One key takeaway I will take from this workshop is that it's not about what the needs are not. It is mostly and mainly about what they are.
So I really call you to change the understandings, how we create the policies and the programs for the youth. So instead of the involvement and cooperation, more co-creation. I think that then the youngsters and the different cooperation partners take more responsibilities because they own this problem. So good luck with that.
Thank you for all those who stayed till the end and for your participation and interest, and bye-bye from European Training Foundation.
Thank you and bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.